Okay. Shalom, Rabbi Sai. Packed house tonight. Baruch Hashem. Coming out as we get ready for Yom Kippur. I want to go through a famous Gemara. Masechta Avodah Zarah, Daf Yud Zayin. And the Gemara itself is fascinating. It's one of these Gemaras I try learning before Yom Kippur. But I want to try to take a very practical takeaway from this Gemara. Maybe we'll see what your takeaway is. Listen to the Gemara. The Gemara is Zok Zeh. The Hatanya. You ready for this? You gotta be ready for this Gemara. This is big time. The Hatanya. Amru alav al Rebbe Lazar ben Dudai. It's said on Rebbe Lazar ben Dudai. Now, right away we know that whenever you see a Reb in the Gemara, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does Reb mean?
In the Gemara?
Yeah. We say he has smicha. Right? The Gemara is calling him a Rav. Right? So, the first we explained, there are certain Amoraim we get used to us calling them by the first name, Abaya, Rava, who's Rav and who's Rebbe. For another time, we'll go through why different people get different titles. Hillel Hazakin or Nasi, but to have a Reb by your name is, it's not like someone put out a book and just said Rabbi, right? Because they want to be called Rabbi. When the Gemara calls you Rabbi, it's a different type of Rabbi. So it's said on Reb Elazar ben Dudai. Now, what do they say about this Chashav Yid who has Reb? Here's what they say about him: Sheloi hiniach zoina achas ba'olam. There was not one zoina in the entire world. You know what a zoina is, right? Zoina is a prostitute. So there was not one zoina in the entire world, ba'olam shaloi ba'aleha. Not one zoina that he never got to. He was a busy man, and he wasn't running around collecting for tzedakah. So he was mully involved. He was totally involved with taiva. He was totally involved with his own self, with his desires, with his lusts. And this is what he did. Okay, he didn't just say he fell once. This was his thing. Pamacha, says the Gemara, there was one time Shama that he hears sheyesh zoina achas bekorchi hayam. There's a certain zoina all the way at the end of the seas that he had never gotten to. And in order to go ahead and be with her, you had to give her a wallet full of coins, very, very expensive. So what does he do? Natal kistinarim. He takes his wallet full of coins, v'halach v'avor leha, and he goes ahead and he travels shiva naharos. 7 rivers was his journey in order to get there. Okay? Sounds like one of these fairy tales, passes through the 7 rivers. This is what he's doing. Yeah, nowadays you can get past these 7 rivers on one iPhone. But they didn't have iPhones then, so they had to go.
Had the big maps.
Yeah, right. Following his treasure. Look what he does. B'shas Hergel, Davar Haficha. There was some gas that while he was with him left his body. Now this Zaina looks at him and she says something a little wild. She says, Amar Kashem Shaficha Zu Ene Chozeres L'Mkoma Kach Elazar ben Dudai a mekablin oso b'tshuva. The same way that gas just left your body and there's no way that's going back in, so too Elazar ben Dudai can never go ahead and do tshuva. We heard about you. Even though I'm all far away, your reputation precedes you. That's okay. You have the money. But she goes ahead and gives him this musr. This itself is wild. A lot of times Hashem gives you inspiration from very different places. You have to be open to see it and to understand the message. But somehow this woman, this Zaina, was a kli for Elazar ben Dudai to hear these words. Why did she say it? I don't know. Maybe the first discuss why she said it, but this is what she tells him. So he hears these words. Now we're talking about a guy who was so far off. He was so stuck in the tumah. And he's willing to go travel so far with all this money, and now he hears her say these words. But you know what? Sometimes there's certain things that just hit you. And it struck a chord in his heart. Halach v'yashav ben shnei harim v'gva'is. He goes ahead and he leaves her right away. And he goes and he sits in between the mountains and the valleys. Omar, he starts speaking to the mountains and the valleys. What does he say? Harim v'gva'is bikshu alai rachamim. Mountains and valleys, please ask mercy for me. Ask mercy for Hashem to have in my soul for all that I've done. Amrulai, the mountains and valleys say back to him. Sounds like he was tripping, no? Amrulai, the mountains and valleys say back to you. We'll get an understanding of what's going on over here in a moment. Ad she'anu mevakshim alecha, until we ask for you anything. Nevakshim alatzmeinu, we're busy with ourselves. Shenemar ki harim yemushu v'agvois tumtenu, because the pasuk in Yeshaya. We have our own things to worry about. We can't go ahead and be busy with you. Okay? Amar Shemayim va'aretz bikshul rachman, heaven and earth. Please, you go ahead and ask Rahman's mercy for me from Hashem. Shemayim and Aretz respond to him. Amar Shemayim va'aretz bikshu alai rachamim. Amar atsha'anu v'akshim alecha. Until we go ahead and ask on you, nevachi shal etzmeinu, we have to worry about ourselves. We have another pasuk in Yeshaya. Shenemar ki shemayim ka'ashem nimlechu. Va'aretz kebega tichle. Amar, Chama ulavana, the sun and the moon. Bakshu alai rachamim. Can you ask forgiveness for me? Amru loy atshanu v'akshim alecha, until we talk about you. Nevaki shal etzmeinu shenemar v'chafra halavana u'boisha achama. And finally he says, no one wants to help him. Amru kochavu mazalois, stars, mazalois, constellations, please, can you ask Rachamim? Bikshu alai Rachamim, Amru loy, they say to him, Asha'anu mevakshim alecha, until we ask for you. Nevaki shal etzmeinu shenemar v'nimku kol tzava shemayim. So he sees no one wants to help him. No one wants to help him. He has the harim, he has the gvais, he has the sun, he has the moon. Amar, famous words, he says, Ein hadavar tali elabi. It must be that only I have left is myself. Ein hadavar tali elabi. Hanicha rosho ben bracha, he puts his head between his knees. Vega'a bebechia, and he starts moaning with cries. Acha yitzasa nishmasai. And nishmasa yitzasa, until his neshama leaves him. From all his remorse and all his crying, his neshama leaves him. Ach yotza nishmasa, I'm sorry. Yotza sabaskol, a heavenly voice comes out after he passes away. Ve'amra, Rabbi Lazar ben Dudai mezumil chaya olam haba. Rabbi Lazar ben Dudai, you are invited to the world to come. Rabbi Lazar ben Dudai, he got smicha from Hashem himself. Lazar ben Dudai went from the most biggest menovel, most disgusting person that we can describe, to getting smicha from Hashem and being invited into the world to come. So, what in the world is going on over here? There's a lot of questions we could ask, and a lot of different points that we could be focusing on. So right away, first of all, Tosfos says over here, Tosfos says, what does it mean that they responded to him? We're busy with you. Lo heshivu lo kach. The mountains weren't really talking to him. Okay, so we know that he was all there. Elohaya omer belibo. He was saying in his heart, shekach yuchlo lahashiv, that they were able to answer him. This is what they would say. He asked them a question, and rhetorically he answered. Inami, says Tosfos, Sar shel harim hayameshiv came. Everything in the world has a sar, has a minister. We spoke about this before. And there's a minister that's in charge of mountains. And that sar spoke to him. So, what was Elazar ben Dudai trying to do over here? He got this inspiration. This lady said to him, "You're done." The second he heard those words that you're done, something went ahead and hit him hard. So he wants to do tshuva, so he goes out, he had these conversations with the Harim and the Gvois and Shemayim and Oretz. What's going on? So I saw from a Rebbe of mine in Eretz Yisrael, he gave me Shiur of Yisrael Berkowitz of Yonason Geffen in his book, and I believe he was quoting from Rabbi Yisachar Frand, if I'm not mistaken. It could be from one of the Mefarshim explained, but I think he was saying from Yisachar Frand. He said like this, guys, this is so important. He says, I'm going to embellish it a little bit, but here's the idea. He said, one of the biggest things that stops a person from doing tshuva, not from doing not just saying the words, yeah? Anyone could do the whole shake. But real tshuva, making a change. One of the biggest things that stops them from making a change is excuses. Why do I have to change? Because it's not my fault. Right? If I go ahead and I'm a catcher and the pitcher goes ahead and throws a wild pitch, it's not my fault. The pitcher threw a wild pitch. But you could have bent down and stopped it. Okay, but it's his fault. So as long as I'm able to blame someone else, so that takes less blame on me. Okay? So people have different circumstances and people that we blame in our life. Right? Who do we blame?
Rabbis.
Oh, rabbis.
I didn't give you a good enough fight.
That goes without saying. Yeah? Not enough sushi. There's still so much sushi left, everybody's like.
So we get second?
Yeah.
Um,
So who do we blame? We blame everyone. We blame our parents. We blame our teachers.
Sometimes we bite the hand that feeds us. You know.
Siblings.
We blame siblings. We blame our friends. What?
Not.
And sometimes we blame God himself.
He's my favorite.
Sometimes we blame Hashem himself. And sometimes we don't even realize we're blaming. It's more of an acceptance. This is my personality. This is who I am. So why did they change this? This is how you made me. When he went out over here and he was first talking, who was his first conversation with, guys? Who remembers? The Harim and the Gvois. The Harim and the Gvois, he says, represent, if I remember correctly, Har Gvais represent your teachers and your parents. People who are bigger than us. He first wants to go ahead and blame his teachers and his parents. You know who I am today? I didn't have good parents. They weren't there for me. My teacher didn't let me go to the bathroom in 3rd grade. Of course this is how I am. I didn't get accepted to that high school. He then goes ahead and says, okay, no, they don't have time for me. So who does he blame next? Shemayim and Aretz. Shemayim and Aretz represent. Are we good?
Yeah. Simon, you know.
Shemayim and Aretz represent your friends, your Aretz, your people who are around you. Either your physical friends, your just regular friends, or even your friends from on the spiritual level. So this is who you put me in. This is my community. He sees that doesn't work. So he goes ahead and he says, maybe the sun and the moon. What does the sun and the moon represent? The different circumstances in his life, when it gets dark or light.
Why would he blame the light?
What?
Why would he blame light?
Because sometimes when people have too much good, they don't see Hashem either. Right? They're busy with their luxury. And all this stuff. Moshe Rabbeinu tells Hashem, you know why Klal Yisrael did the Egel? Because you gave them all this money. You gave them all this money. Why'd you give it to them? So he used it to try to stick up for us.
The Greek emperor, wasn't it?
What?
Right, there was a Greek emperor who said, who wrote Tehillim, and they said you should stop writing Tehillim because it's going to become greater than David and Melech.
I don't know. Never heard that. Could be. I mean, a lot of things I didn't hear. No, right.
Caesar.
Never heard that. Could be.
But I heard maybe I heard that the moon was jealous of the sun.
Yeah, that's a different medrash. The beginning of the world. That's where the moon got smaller.
Mm.
But here we're talking about the circumstance.